While I was at GDC 2024, I was able to record a special episode of Behind the Game podcast at Yoda One's special event, Game Dev Connect. During the event, I got to sit down and talk with Ludovic Bodin, who just launched his new book, Atomic Scaling, which has a lot of great insights for game developers about growing with small teams. So here is my conversation with Ludovic at GDC. I hope you enjoy it. I am so honored today to be joined with Ludovic Bodin. He has released Atomic Scaling. Now, Ludovic, you are an entrepreneur, you are a founder, you are an investor, you do it all. You've worked in everything from the gaming industry to entertainment, from cars to healthcare, from companies all over the world, and now you're an author. So I'm so interested. What has been your favorite role so far?
Yeah, I think I enjoy every single day for the last 20-something years. I think when you're in your 20s and 30s, entrepreneur for sure is the most exciting part. Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. I'm in my 20s now, so I will keep that in mind. I'm living the best days of my life, I guess. You did something really interesting with Atomic Scaling, and you've basically taken all of the really big success stories from the gaming industry and kind of oriented it to a business mindset. And you've basically given a cheat code to anyone who's trying to start a business and how we've done so well in the gaming industry. So I kind of wanted to talk about some of those, success stories. And I'm going to be honest, my favorite one that I think stuck out to me was Discord. And I love Discord. I use it every day. And I just think it's crazy that Discord almost wasn't Discord. And, how successful it was because of who made it.
Yeah, it's interesting. So Jason Citron, the founder of Discord, used to be making a mobile game, like Emily here and a co-founder in the room. And I had the chance to, spend time with Jason back in the day as we were doing first-person shooter, and he was doing MOBA. So we kind of exchange tips and so on. And he just got investment from Tencent at that time. And it's pretty exciting. He was pretty well funded. He had this very good-looking games on a mobile game before anyone will do MOBA. All the team were League of Legends fans back in the day and so on. And then something strange happened. Just a few weeks after announcing the funding from Tencent, I met the team at TwitchCon, and then they're telling me, well, we're not doing games anymore. And I'm like, what? And literally at that time it was just a few guys, just a 1,000, maybe 12 people at most. And one of them, who actually now is the CTO of Discord, was very excited about what was about to happen. That was actually the first TwitchCon in San Francisco ever. And it was just, I think, 6-7 people, a banner behind them, a table, and they were about to launch Discord. So that's what was pretty radical pivot that happened at that time. Yeah.
I think that's just really amazing, because to imagine not having Discord would be crazy, and to know that it came from League of Legends players is really cool, because I'm a League of Legends player myself. But another really cool case story that you talked about, and everybody knows it, is Supercell, right? One of my favorite parts was how Supercell got its name. So can you explain?
Yeah, just a personal story, and that's actually kind of the origin story also of Atomic Scaling. We are in January 2013, so quite a few years ago. I'm doing PC games, I'm doing mobile games. Ilka Panamen, the founder of Supercell, CEO of Supercell, starts as a PC shooter actually, and I think at that time was about maybe 6 months after the release of their first game. And we were having breakfast together. It was January in Helsinki, for those who are from Helsinki here in the room, Juicy and a few others. It was pretty cold. And I met Ilka. It was actually the first time we met. We had common investors. The founder of Skype was also among the group. I spent a few minutes chit-chatting with Ilka. And Ilka does the same, and we don't know each other, but very quickly we both feel quite comfortable. And then I tell Ilka that basically I have pretty big stress right now, because the more people I add to my team, and the less productive I feel the team is or I become.
Right.
I literally spend my time like in Asia doing development where we had studios, in USA where we're doing like business and VC, fundraising and so on. And I would feel very, very stretched. And Ilka, if you know Supercell, he was wearing a jeans and a black t-shirt with a name like Supercell on it. Like
Right.
this. And then he tell me like, like most of our games, we maybe like 3 to 5 people developing them. And at that time, I think we were like maybe like 35, 40 people developing one game. And in my mind, I needed to hire another 70 people or something like that. So he's like, okay, we're only like 3 to 5 people. And he said to me, why don't you stop hiring people and actually start focusing more on your team?
Wow.
And actually spend time with your team to make the team, as powerful as it can
Right.
be from a small team. And that really kind of, that was the beginning for me of my journey on atomic scaling. And then, 12 years later, between different startup, different investments, 2 of my investments became unicorn already, so I've got quite a lot of my friends turning unicorns, quite a few of them are featured also in the book. A lot of lessons, and I think one of the things that I didn't get 12 years ago, and that's probably the reason why I wrote Atomic Scaling, is like, okay, we want to have a small team, we all understand the power of a small team, but how do we do that? How do we get the most out of a small team?
Right. Very cool. And, talking about Ilka, one of my favorite quotes from him is that he is like the least involved CEO, right? And I just find that really interesting. He really puts trust and faith into his team to make the right decisions. And spoiler alert, if you read the book, you find out that Clash of Clans almost didn't happen. I just think that's really amazing that he can, put the trust into his company and his employees, and then we get awesome games like Clash of Clans.
Yeah, true. I mean, the least powerful CEO, that's like this, his motto. Basically, he wants to keep the team as small as possible for as long as possible. That's kind of the mantra. But he also empowers his team. I mean, one of the story was, which is also a feature in the book, is one of their game where 6 months, 9 months, a year or something like that in beta test. And he was flying from Helsinki to their office in San Francisco. And as he actually arrived in San Francisco, he turned on his phone, and then he actually realized that the next big game for Supercell just got canned. The team basically just made an announcement to everyone, the community, and so on, that while they believed that this would be the next big thing, they decided to can it. And if you ask like any CEO of any traditional company,
right,
like, would you be okay that your next big thing that everyone is expecting to be the next Clash of Clans just got canned without you even knowing about it? And you say, yeah, that's actually the best.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, can you imagine just like pulling out your phone and be like, oh, wow, look at that. We're not releasing a game. And you're just like, okay, well, time to shift. Yeah, I think that's really powerful, and I think that can, attribute to how successful they've been. Something else that I think really has contributed to their success and the success of other companies in the industry is the mindset, right? You talk a lot about this in your book, and there's many different parts to it, so we'll kind of keep it short. But we can talk about being a good leader, right? And that's, right brain versus left brain, and how to switch back and forth. Do you have any tips on how to do that and how to train your body to do that?
Yeah, it's very interesting actually. Like if you look at the specificity of the gaming industry, like what kind of people do we have in a company?
Right.
We have like artists, which is like very like right brain and type of stuff, and then we have like engineers, which is very left brain and type of stuff. But actually, like the most powerful team are actually team who can people who can actually go from left to right.
Yeah.
So for the technical artists, for example, in the room, or for the audio engineers in the room, that's usually like my favorite people actually to constitute the core team at the very start. One of the things that we use when we evaluate a team is we look at the founders, and usually we prefer a team, like a team of 2, not necessarily 5 or 6 or 7, but at least a team of 2. And we look at how complementary they are between each other.
Right.
And the ability to shift from left to right and right to left and so on. And there is something like magic that's happening here. But we also look at the ability to do things.
Right.
So you can have like people who are maybe very complementary, but if you have two founders, one of them used to be VP at EA and the other one used to be creative director at Activision, well, that's probably not going to be the best team to be an atomic scaler.
Okay.
Because
Yeah.
they actually need to be doing stuff, not just managing people
Right.
and resource and deadline, etc., etc.
Right. Very cool. And just kind of to explain, right, the reason for wanting right brain versus left brain is so you're able to give, those analytics and that data, but then also to really empower your employees and like make them have emotions to your goal that you're trying to work towards. So with data and emotion, you can really make something powerful happen, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the one of the example we take in the book is like, if you have like a data-driven, for example, CEO, he might be very good with numbers, he might be very logical and so on, and he has a very organized plan, and then he tells the team to do, and he asks, "Do you guys understand?" And the team say, "Yeah."
Uh-huh.
But then nothing gets done.
Right.
Because they are not excited. And the way to excite people is often to tell stories. So if you're only talking as a data-driven person to data-driven people,
Right.
most likely you won't get much done. So if you start to see that your team is maybe like, they understand, they get it, the plan is clear, etc., but nothing gets done, probably means that you need to be a little bit more on the storytelling side. On the other side of the spectrum, if you're really good at exciting people, but then nothing gets done because everything is like messy and so on, well, you probably need to be a little bit better and being a little bit more left-brain, data-driven type of stuff. And that's usually where the magic happens between the founders company.
And how does that relate to moonshot thinking? Because, basically moonshot thinking is when you have a really empowered goal, like going to the moon. And so, you have to really put that emotion behind it. So how does that relate?
Yeah, we talk a lot about it in the playbook chapter. The playbook actually idea came from Riot and Nicolas Laurent from CEO, who was the former CEO of Riot. If you look at companies, like companies always have ups and down, ups and down, ups and down, ups and down. And sometimes you get short on cash, and sometimes it's tough, etc., etc. But companies don't die because they get out of cash.
Right.
They die because they get out of juice of energy. And one way to re-energize the team is often to play with this kind of moonshot and vision and storytelling approach. Something that also Bill Gates actually is famous for saying is like, it's very common to overestimate what can be done in 1 year, but it's also very common to underestimate what can be done in 5 years. So we also have tools and framework in the book that explain how you can work on your moonshot.
Right.
And ignite the passion for your team.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest, I learned so much. Even if you are a new game developer and you're looking to start a game, you kind of also show a lot of metrics that you should aim for in there. So really, if you are a game developer looking to start your new business, definitely check it out. You are giving away some free copies and he can sign it for you. So definitely check it out. But I want to leave you with one last question. And that is, we're talking about giving a cheat code, and basically your whole book is a cheat code. But if you could give one cheat code and go back in time to yourself, what would it be?
Entrepreneurship can be really amazing, but it can be also really hard.
Right.
And as an entrepreneur, we turned investors about 4 years ago, and I'm looking for like the next unicorn founders, people who are really passionate and working hard and perseverant and so on. It can be tough.
Yeah.
Really tough.
Yeah.
And it can go up, it can go down, and I've seen people going into depression. I have friends who like suicide because of this, because they go very high and then suddenly boom, everything crash and they can't handle the pressure and so on. So one of the objectives for atomic scaling is also to give you a little bit of peace.
Right.
To give you a little bit of what I call a navigation system. like you're working hard, but if at the end of the day you are about to go to bed and you feel you achieve nothing, if you feel your to-do list is like, oh my God, I'm like 10% of it and so on, and you wake up in the morning and you're like tired, and at night you're like, oh my God, it's like 2 a.m. and I still didn't achieve what I wanted to achieve today and so on. It's really tough. And
Right.
It's not a sprint, it's actually a marathon.
So then you should read Atomic Scaling.
Then you should read Atomic Scaling, but you should also like realize that there is actually just a few things that matter
Right.
at the end. And the book actually, we have a framework called the 3P, 3R. So the first 3P is about the business operating system. So if you're like a leader, founder, CEO of a company, at the end of the day, you're not in charge of everything. And if
Right.
you are, it's probably not going to scale very much.
Right.
At the end of the day, the only thing you can do is, have the right people in the room, take care of them, work on them so they can achieve them, as much as they can. Work on the people side, work on the prediction side, which is something the Western game developer are not as strong as
Right.
developers based in the East. I spent about 6 months of the year in Asia and 6 months in Europe and USA. And the last part is the playbook. Like, are you like aligning or your team to actually achieve the same goal this quarter, this week, this month, etc. So if you're a leader and at the end of the day, before going to bed, you do a bit of retrospective on your day and you just think of the 3P. Did I do a good job with the people today? Did I empower them? Did I check that the team is actually not too big? Did I check that we have the right magical pair? Did I check that people actually have kind of the right chemistry between the magical pair? Okay, cool. Did I work on my prediction? Did I measure the hypothesis that we're supposed to achieve today? Did I tell the story to kind of ignite my people today? You don't need to do that every day, but if you've done every day a little bit of this,
Right.
you
A
can
little bit of
probably go
steps every day makes a
little
difference,
bits
right?
every day, you can probably go to
Yep.
bed and feel much better.
Right.
And wake up in the morning, feel a lot more energized. And tomorrow is another battle. And at the end of the day, everything will be fine.
Right. Well, thank you so much for all of your knowledge and your insights. And of course, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to meet you and have the opportunity to talk with you. And thank you everybody for coming out. And yeah. Make sure to check out the book Atomic Scaling by Ludovic Bodin. And please make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.